I am Tinuke Oloruntoyin Folami. Vice President Kashim Shettima has stressed the need for improved data collection, analysis, and deployment of technology to generate more comprehensive and inclusive evidence. It says having this in place will guide government decisions, investment choices, and the pathway to development. He explains that deploying the best technology to strengthen data systems and institutions, upgrading human resources and capacities, and promoting partnerships that will facilitate generating and using inclusive data will guarantee a resilient and equitable future for all Nigerians. The Vice President spoke at an event held in Abuja to commemorate the 2024 World Population Day.
It is telling that the theme of this year's World Population Day is a recognition of the power of data. This theme emphasizes the promises of inclusive data, and I am deeply honored to lead this reflection on the diversity and opportunities that abound in a nation with a demographic dividend as pronounced as ours. Nigeria is indeed a fascinating country, and there can be no discourse around the future of the world without us on the table.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for renewed commitment and investment to turn the International Conference on Population and Development Program into reality. Represented by the Director, UN Information Center for Nigeria, Ronald David Kayanja, the UN Secretary General stresses the critical role of women's sexual and reproductive health and rights in sustainable development. The Senate has resolved to amend Order 8, Section 2 of its standing rules to allow it to sit from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. during plenary. This followed a debate on a motion sponsored by the leader of the Senate, Opeyemi Bamidele. In his lead debate, Senator Bamidele explained that the reason for the amendment is to synchronize the time of sitting with that of the House of Representatives. He particularly noted that since the functions of lawmakers are enormous, it may not be feasible for them to resume as early as 10 a.m. as contained in the existing standing rules.
Important that we walk our talk. If our rules had said 10 a.m., and we had not been able to sit 10 for 10. I think what is most important at this point is that if we say it is 11, please let it be 11 o'clock. So I agree with distinguished Senator Ahmad Lawa that it cannot just be because the House sits at 11. As a matter of fact, he also talked about energy. If it's even about energy, our younger brothers and sisters in the House of Representatives have more energy than we do. So if they will not sit before 11 a.m., I think it makes sense that we sit, amend our rules to read 11 o'clock, rather than our rule book saying 10 a.m. and we don't sit until 11.
However, former President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, said there is no basis for such an amendment, stressing that the existing sitting time of 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. should be maintained as it gives leverage to the committees to be more effective.
We have more energy. Our heads are clearer in the morning. And 1 hour into the day, probably would have lost some energy. And I feel, Mr. President, if we work between 10, if we sit in plenary between 10 and 2, our committees would do better.
President Godswill Akpabio, however, stated that there are other reasons that may not be pleasant if discussed in plenary, and therefore urged the Senate to go into an executive session. After the closed-door session, the Senate amended Order 8, Section 2 of its standing rules to allow it to sit from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. during plenary in the absence of any other matter.
The whole to consider the amendment of our standing orders to enable us sit between 11 o'clock and 3 p.m. daily. Those in support that we move into committee of the whole, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The clerk of the Senate is mandated to reprint the Senate Standing Order with the new amendment. In the meantime, Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo says governors will review the Supreme Court verdict that granted financial autonomy to local government councils. Speaking after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the State House in Abuja, Soludo, who described the verdict by the Apex Court as great, explained that the move will free up funds for local government areas and promote accountability. Soludo re-echoed his resolve to conduct local government elections in the southeast state after many years. Recall that in its lead judgment read by Justice Emmanuel Agim, the Apex Court mandated the federal government to begin immediate and direct payment of local government funds to the latter's exclusive accounts. The Supreme Court scolded the decades-long refusal of the state government on financial autonomy for local government. President Bola Tinubu, in the wake of the verdict, said it will pave the way for more accountability. Our former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC have equally lauded the landmark verdict. In sports, Saudi Arabia has appointed Nigerian Olympic gold medalist Enefiok Udo Obong as the technical director of Athletic Development Program. Udo Obong will be leading the Saudi Arabian team to the Paris 2024 Olympics Games starting July 26th. We have details in Taiwo Hussein Aremu's report.
Following his appointment as the technical advisor to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia Athletics, the Lagos State Athletics Association on Thursday celebrated its outgoing technical director, Enefiok Udo Obong. The association, under the leadership of Solomon Alao, honored the Olympic gold medalist for his new role as the technical advisor of Athletics Development Program in Saudi Arabia. Udo Obong has been the brain behind the lofty developmental programs in Lagos in the last 3.5 years, helping the association to achieve so much with over 50 athletes getting scholarships to the United States. Under his guidance and technical expertise, the LSSA hosted more competitions, including the Deji Tinubu Lagos Athletics Series for clubs, which remains the biggest developmental competition in Nigeria. Speaking at the reception, the LSAA chairman, Alao, described the exalted appointment of Udo Obong as an achievement worthy of celebration and a testament to his growing stature as a World Athletics certified trainer of international repute. Alao was represented by board member Dr. Modupo Ogumbanjo, said the successes achieved by the association with Udo Obong as technical director meant the state is indebted to him, stating that the appointment portends a great future for Lagos athletes and coaches.
We're very proud of him. It's a great achievement, one of a kind in history, and we must thank God for him and come together to celebrate him and appreciate his achievements so far. We are very sure that going in on the international scene, he will do us even more proud than ever before because he has the capacity and what it takes.
Speaking on his appointment, Udo Obong was full of praise to the Lagos State Athletics Association for providing him with the platform and opportunity to contribute to the development of athletics in Lagos and Nigeria.
I know that whatever plans I have and whatever developmental arrangements I have, I will always have Lagos at the back of my mind. I already told them, even in the course of the interview, that we will have interrelational partnership with Nigeria, probably mostly spread with Lagos, to have like a Saudi Arabia, Nigeria kind of athletics competition.
Udo Obong will continue to support the association as technical advisor, while Billy Disu will act in the interim as technical director, said his appointment will run positively on Nigeria athletics. He also noted that his appointment will inspire young coaches to develop themselves.
We have many coaches that have developed themselves and are doing well. Even in Saudi Arabia, we have one of our coaches from Lagos, Coach Lati Ogumbeson. He's working there as a coach in a club. We've had coaches from Lagos that have gone. Mr. T, he's now in the US, but he's worked in the Middle East before. We have Coach Shadi Olalekon, he's in Abu Dhabi. So the coaches are actually doing well, and they are by just telling me, keep on reading, keep on developing yourself, and then the opportunities will come.
Udo Obong, an Olympic gold and bronze medalist, is a Swiss-trained sports manager, served as the secretary of the main organizing committee of the just concluded Southwest Athletics Conference held in Abeokuta, Ogun State, where the agenda was set for athletics development in the region for the next 4 years.
On the foreign scene, China's foreign minister Wang Yi has hit back at NATO's groundless accusations that Beijing is helping Russia in its war on Ukraine. He has also warned the Western alliance against stirring up confrontation. Wang's comments, made in a call with his Dutch counterpart, came hours after leaders of NATO member states gathered in Washington, D.C. and issued a declaration that mentioned the war. They accused China of being a decisive enabler of Russia through its large-scale support for Russia's defense industrial base in some of their harshest remarks yet about Beijing. They called on China to stop all material and political support to Russia's war fronts, such as the supply of dual-use materials, which are items that can be used for both civilian and military purposes. Recall that Western states have previously accused Beijing of transferring drone and missile technology and satellite imagery to Moscow. The U.S. estimates about 70% of the machine tools and 90% of the microelectronics Russia imports now come from China. Beijing was also accused of conducting malicious cyber and hybrid activities, including disinformation on NATO states. In a press conference, U.S. President Joe Biden said he had discussed with other leaders about spelling out the consequences for China. For more news, connect with Lagos Television on these social media platforms. In case of emergencies, please call 767 or 112. They are toll-free lines. Many thanks for watching. Plan to join us at 2 for more news. I am Tinuke Olorutoyin Folami.